very important for you. If you have done the projects, it's very important for you to know how to clear, how to talk in an interview, so that once you are aligned for an interview, you get selected. Or else, what's the point of doing projects if you can't clear the interview? So clearing the interview is very important, guys. So pay your attention to what I will be saying. Everything that I will talk about is very important for you to understand. So let's start, guys. So before doing that, I will share my screen so that you can have a sheet which you can refer to, have a format that you can refer to. So this is the resume, and this is the project that you did, employee data set. Okay, so now we'll be talking about this, guys. Okay, just give me a sec. So employee data set project, guys. So this was the project which you did after Munnar dataset, Airbnb dataset. The very important project, guys. So why you did this, guys? The first question that will come in the mind of the interviewer will be, from where did you get this data set? So what happens, guys? This particular project, generally people, when they try to work themselves, get some experience on MySQL or PostgreSQL or DB, or if they want to work on Python, then this is when they choose this particular data set. So how is it, guys? They may be interested in understanding from where do you get a data set. So as this is a self-accomplished project, you can very well say that you got it from some of your friends or some that kind of thing. However, these data sets are also easily available in GitHub. These data sets are also available in GitHub, and this is also there in Kaggle. So just explore once, or else you can straight away say that you got it from some of your friends and you start working on that. So people, as I said, they use it. They use it. People who start with the MySQL, they generally use with this employee data set. So these are available for generally training purposes. And as I said, it gives you exposure. So very important thing, guys. So now, as you have already used some CSV data sets earlier, it was the time for you to go with some more structured format. That is what you can say. And one thing that you understand is the project that the project that you did, you were supposed to use PostgreSQL for that particular project. So these scripts, which if you download it directly, these scripts are generally available in MySQL scripts. So what you can say is you wanted to use PostgreSQL as well. There are some enhancements in PostgreSQL. You wanted to understand how PostgreSQL works. You can say that PostgreSQL has some of the you have heard that PostgreSQL have some of the plus points, that it can store JSON and all these things. You can talk about that. You can say that you converted those scripts. If you want to say, if you are saying that you directly got it as PostgreSQL scripts from your friend, then it's okay. But if you're saying that you downloaded it from one of the platforms, then you can say that it was in MySQL. Then you converted it in the scripts into PostgreSQL so that you can use it. And why you did that? Because you learned that there are some different ways towards it. There are some enhancements, some plus points in PostgreSQL. You can talk about that. Okay. Then what else you did, guys? So these are some of the basic questions that interviewer will be ready to know. Where did you get the data set? Why did you do that? Then afterwards, guys, just one more thing is you analyze this data. While you are working on this data, if you remember, there were multiple questions. With the help of this data, you were supposed to answer the multiple questions. So you can definitely, they can ask you about some of those questions. How did you thought about those questions? And he will be asking you as well. So the basic thing is, whenever you appear in an interview, ensure that all those things that you have written in your resume, all those things that you have written in your resume, you are all aware of that. So you should be aware of everything that you have written in your resume, like fetch the data from PostgreSQL, then data cleaning, data wrangling. You should be aware of each and everything, like descriptive analysis, Power BI. So whatever is there in your resume, your questions will be related to that. So the most important thing, if you feel that you are not aware of something, or if you can't express yourself on any specific topic, then don't highlight that thing until unless it's the important thing. If it's the important thing, it's very important for you to know that, to understand the importance of it, and accordingly you have to update it. Okay, what else, guys? So What else? Just give me a sec. Okay, so we were talking about SQL part, right? So you can say that you worked with SQL, you were able to connect Python to SQL, was able to interact with SQL engine there. So in this case, it was PostgreSQL. So you can say that you interacted, and then you can call it as the SQL engine, or you can call it as SQL database, DB as well. So anything would work. So you were able to connect to PostgreSQL, to Python, and executed few scripts there. So this is how it basically works. Then after that, what you did, if you're data analyst, the people will be more interested in how did you get the data from. So how did you get the data from? This will be one of the questions that the people will be interested in. So you can say that it was from DB, it was from DB, then it was already created. Then if they drill down further, then how the data is collected and all, then probably you already know the answers of it. That there are multiple ways of getting the data, like some API hits are there, then the scraping is there. So if they try to understand, or if they try to get an understanding about the knowledge that you have, he may be drilling you further. Or else the simple thing be that yes, the data was available from TP and you got the data from there. That is what you can say. Then after that, you can talk about what were the learnings you have. If you ask about what were your learnings, you can say that you learned pandas, you interacted with SQL using pandas. So this is what you can talk about. You can give them some of the examples about how, if he asks you to give an example, you can talk about that as well. Then if you have updated wrangling, we said that wrangling is one of the important things, right? So now you should know what wrangling is. You should know what a wrangling is. As you have updated wrangling there, he may be asking you somewhat related question, what is wrangling? So what exactly is wrangling? If you can give some example for them to understand what exactly is wrangling, that would be helpful. So what exactly is wrangling, guys? You should be aware of it. When you are trying to compress the data while trying to identify which columns are actually the same columns, and then join it into the tables and then come up with the master data. That is wrangling. Got it? It's very simple. So you have already done it. So for an example, if there are multiple columns, if one column's name is employee ID and there is another column which is ID. So if we talk about the data in both the columns is same. However, they ended up in having two columns in the data set. So what you will have to do is you will have to club this. You will have to make one out of it and make one particular table, and that is known as wrangling. So you have to like compress the data and come up with the master data table. That is a simple example of unwrapping. So you might have done these things here. And similarly, if there is a different table, if there is department ID in different tables, so you come up with all these things and bringing them in all one table. So that is a master table, and that is the simple step that we can talk about when it comes to wrangling. So as you have written the wrangling thing there, as you have done something, it is very important from them to understand. Guys, what else, guys? See, as you can see on the screen, so we have spoken about wrangling, reducing data memory footprint, guys. This is again important thing, reducing data memory footprint. This is again an important thing that they will be interested in understanding. So maybe while working on the data, you identified that there are a few strings which were not required. Go ahead and eliminate that. You go ahead and do not use those particular things. So by doing this, some of the stuff you can say that this is how the data memory footprint can be reduced. They may not go ahead in detail about it. They may not ask detailed questions, but yes, but yes, there can be just they will just try to check your understanding about it. Okay, these things are important things. I'm just making notes of for it, guys. So in the back end, I'm just writing some notes as well from my end. I will be sharing these notes to you on our master sheet, so it will make your life easy. Okay. So in simple words, you know what is data footprint memory. You should try to keep it simple words, and in simple words, you have to explain it. If required, explain them with an examples. Okay. So this can be some of the important stuff. Then they will be interested in knowing like analysis part of it, pandas. Then they will talk about distributions. So when it comes to this particular project, these will be the few important things that he will talk about. So before going, guys, I want you to understand all these things, okay? Like data cleaning, data wrangling, reducing data memory footprint. And I want you to do one more thing before going, right? Just have a look at the chat GPT. Just understand his perspectives in a very simple language. In a very simple language, try to understand what it is saying. And if you are somewhat confused, then you have already done that. So ideally speaking, you will not get confused, but you are somewhat confused. You should again go ahead, write these questions there, but be prepared for it. Okay. Meanwhile, I will also just paste some of the notes of whatever I have just said. I have noted a few things down with me. So I will just paste this in the master sheet as well. Just refer to that as well. Okay. So that is the most important thing. And other than that, you can see that NumPy's, pandas, descriptive analysis, you already know how to talk about this. Then Seaborn, Matplotlib, you use visualizations for that. And if you have used Power BI, then yes, you can definitely say that you use Power BI as well. So in with us, we use this as an optional, but if you have already done that, if you have used Power BI as well, you can use it there. So guys, these are the